Hello everybody. And today I'm going to show you the progress I've made on my outside shrimp farm. The weather this week has been really bad, super windy, super cold, so that's really limited what I could get done. But we did get some stuff done, and we figured out a lot of things. We figured out a lid, we got the metal plugs in the new stock tanks replaced with plastic. That ended up being a bigger ordeal than I had planned on. We got the water lines finalized and running. So let's see what all we got going. So the story on these plastic plugs on these new tanks was a whole ordeal. They actually did not fit exactly, so it took a bunch of grinding and whittling away at the stock tank material to get these plugs to fit. Luckily, they went in pretty easy after I got that all sorted out. That wasn't much of a deal, so now I don't have to worry about metal brass fittings contaminating my shrimp tubs. One thing that made lids a little tricky was we have two different kinds of stock tanks here. You can see, and this one is leaking. This is one of the old ones we're going to have to replace. But we got some really thin, stretchy cable stuff, elastic cable, really thin with the bug net. And it worked, but the bug net, it wants to fall down in the water. That little tiny stretchy cable is not big enough. So it's not, you can't get enough tension on it. So I got bigger ones, way bigger ones. And you can see here, heavy duty, biggest ones I could order. And they're connected with carabiners instead of little plastic clips, metal carabiners. So I'm feeling really good at that. And that one's a dud. Now we tried the experimental method on the Tough Stuff tanks, and I really prefer the Tough Stuff tanks for this over the Rubbermaid ones. And so this is how all the Tough Stuff ones will be eventually. Got the heavy duty cable, but the heavy duty cable on these wanted to slide down to the ground, so I had to put in nylon bolts at all four corners of it to hold that, act that as a guide for that cable. Now it's been, like I said, it's been so windy. I just haven't been able to pull out all that netting and cut out pieces to fit. So that's why these don't have netting on them. It's just been too cold and windy. I was also able to finalize the water lines and do a test on that. And you'll see that all works good. Plug the hose up to the quick connect, and then that's the water flow we got going, and each tub has an overflow. So the plan is just turn that on for like 45 minutes a week, and that'll be the water change for the shrimp tubs outside. So I finally feel like it's starting to come together. Like I said, this week's weather has been completely horrible. I need to cut all these pieces of net to finalize the lids, but trying to drag out bug net, lay out, and cut when the winds are blowing 20 to 30 to 40 miles per hour is not fun. And I don't have any space in my house big enough to spread out a 10 by 30 foot piece of netting. So yeah, I am real happy. It's starting to look like it's starting to come together now. Like I said, it may not look like I got a whole lot done this week, but when you figure out each one and multiply it by 10, it's a lot of work. And so let me show you this little trick I made. I cleaned it up. I ran the water lines and air lines through the side of the tub. And this is an old trick I learned many years ago. You drill little holes smaller than the size of the air tubing, and you get the real flexible silicone nice air tubing like I have. You drill a hole smaller than the tubing, and you cut a little tail on the airline, and you tuck that tail in there. Then that allows you to pull the rest through, and that makes an airtight, watertight seal. And I still did it toward the top, so I drilled these lines so that they were below where the lid cable will be, so they weren't interfering. So I didn't want to get them too low in case they did leak a little bit. So they're right at about where the water line is going to normally be, where I've set the water level with overflows. So that's nice and tight. That seals in. Acts like a seal in that hole. It's nice soft silicone tubing. So that's my progress so far this week. Hopefully next week we can get a lot further, and hopefully maybe start adding shrimp. It's going to be in the 60s and 70s all next week, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you guys for checking out my progress, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.